welcome back to Building Stuff with Dave. And here we are, back at the workshop with the pedal pump. And that last test taught us a few more things. Length of the hose needs to be shortened, some way to keep it just below the water. The ergonomics of this section, holding onto this while pedalling, that was kind of uncomfortable, not very suitable. And the tension in the first chain. Now, that jumped off loads, and if it wasn't for that jumping off loads, I reckon I could have pumped a whole lot more water, because I was putting it on every few minutes. So I'm thinking they've got no more room to get any more tension out of the slot at the bottom here, and I'm wondering, I got it tight on the second cog the other day, but actually I want to go on the smallest cog. So now I'm thinking about rigging up a way to tension it, and this is the derailleur that came off, and check it out, it kind of fits there. Do you see that? Fits there, and there's a hoop here to go through this nut. I might be able to just loosen that and tighten that on in such a way that that sits just nicely. Oh, there we go. Just nicely to tension it, and that'll be a result. But something else happened after the test in the last episode 9. It was getting dark, but I still had to water all the veg, so I was watering away, and I noticed that where I was pumping into the water butt at the far end, it was dripping a bit, and I thought, oh, that's just some of the excess water in the pipe, dripping through. But then about 45 minutes later, when I'd finished watering everything, it was still dripping, and I was confused by this, because there's a little hill up and down into the water butt, so there's no way it would still be dripping at that speed. So I popped back down to where the pump was, still all connected up, and that was still, the water level had gone down. And so then I was thinking, well, what's going on? Well, it must be siphoning. So I disconnected the pump and reconnected the hose coming out of the butt into the hose that's going all the way along to the water butt at the far end, and you'll never guess what, it was siphoning, self-siphoning. So I let it self-siphon for a bit, because like, result, no pedalling, getting water from A to B, which is what I was trying to do in the first place. Happy days. I even timed it. It went a thumbnail in a minute, and roughly 3/4 of that first water butt is 25 thumbnails, so 25 minutes. And then today I went down and tried to get the siphon going without the pump, which I couldn't do. So I'm thinking now, use the pump to prime the hose, then when it's primed, set it on siphon, so it's siphoning itself, and then go about my business, weeding, watering, whatever. 25 minutes later, a full water butt at the far end of the plot. Happy days. So then I was thinking, so it's a success. We've done it. The pedal pump works. It even if it jumps off every now and again, then it works. But I can't just leave it at that, can I? Really? I mean, it's a half-done job, if you will. So then I was thinking, right, well, if I take this down there, use the pump to prime the hose so it can self-siphon, let it siphon away, happy days. Take the pump down the other end of the allotment and rig up the hose pipe into where it's siphoning into, and use the pedal pump, to maybe power a sprinkler, or just a hose powerful enough for me to be able to sit there while pedalling and watering the whole allotment. That would be a result too, wouldn't it? And also experimenting with shorter lengths of hose, because I'm pumping it a fair distance right the way to the other end of the allotment at a fair rate. Maybe a shorter hose, but see how high up we can get it. And then there's a possibility of using the pedal pump to pump water up higher into a water butt or container of some sort, that would use gravity for a sprinkler or etc, etc, etc. So we're going to carry on with the pedal pump essentially. Going to have a look at fixing that derailleur on there, see if this little jockey wheel is stable enough to keep that in place at high speed, because we need the high speed, I reckon, for the sprinkler. The piece of metal that we welded with the slot seems to be working fine. It's holding it nicely. It's not super jammed against it, so I don't think it's wearing it away as such, but it is enough to hold it and stop this chain falling off, which is a result. I think I'm going to lower it down. There's no need for it to be up so high, so I'll lower it down on our saddle post stand, and then it's working out a better way to hold this, and I'm thinking, let's keep it simple. I've not actually cut anything off this bike yet. I always get to a point in a project where you have to make a drastic cut or adjustment. Essentially, I could unbolt that and cut through here and spray that up nicely, and I could turn it back into a bike. Don't know whether I will or not yet, but hey, who knows. So the simplest thing will be a handle bolted across there, I think, for now. And I've turned it round so that the forks bend the other way, so it's not so close. So I'm going to try that, maybe a bit of threaded bar actually, with a couple of nuts. Hold that on there, a bit of tape to make it user friendly on the hands. So we'll try that, and then we might have another test. Cool, bye. So as I said, I'm just going to try and screw that on there and see that if that tensions that, and guess what, it does. It was that easy. I don't know, if it takes a long time to study to be an engineer, but you might as well just be a lucky one instead, because what a result is that. Look, it lines up. I've spun it a fair bit, it hasn't jumped off yet. It's even got a little metal nodule on the side of there that holds it against this part of the frame. It's like it was almost designed to go there. It's tensioned the chain, but if the chain came off I could just pull that down, retension it. It's like, literally, it's like it grew there. Insane, so happy days. If you can't be good, be lucky. On to the next bit. What was I going to do next? Oh yeah, a handle for this end. So that should be an easy job. And lower that, and then I reckon the next thing you see will be me down the allotment having another go. Result?